Well, we did this at the 8:30 service, and Dave Tate lovingly reminded me after this emotional experience, which I promise you it's going to be, that I had to do it again at the 10:30 service. So thanks, Dave. His Eyes on the Sparrow was written in 1905 by Sevilla Barton and Charles Gabriel. Now, the story goes like this. Early in the spring of 1905, Dr. and Mrs. Martin were in upstate New York, and they just happened to meet and become great friends with a couple by the name of Mr. and Mrs. Doolittle. And they would visit with the Doolittles in their home. Mrs. Doolittle had been bedridden for 20 years, and her husband, who was handicapped, used a wheelchair to go to and from his business. In spite of their affliction, they seemed to live very happy Christian lives, and they brought inspiration and comfort to all who knew them. One day, while the Martins were visiting the Doolittles, Dr. Martin commented on their bright and hopeful and cheery outlook and asked them for the secret. Mrs. Doolittle's reply was simple. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. The beauty of this simple expression of boundless faith gripped the hearts and fired the imagination of the Martins. And Dr. Martin, as soon as he was able, penned the lyrics to His Eye is on the Sparrow. Now, here's the personal story behind this piece. This was my mother's favorite hymn. And just like Gail was saying, I didn't realize that we were talking about the threads of all three of these hymns that we did not plan on. My mother, every single holiday, would insist that my two sisters, and my brother and I sang, How Great Thou Art, His Eyes on the Sparrow. We went through every single time. My sisters and I would fight over who was the alto and who was the soprano. It just happened every holiday. But when my mother was dying at Westminster Canterbury, I woke up in the middle of the night one night because we were sitting watch. We were taking turns sitting watch by her bedside. And I know that I was woken up in the middle of the night. I got in my car and drove over, and my sister was there, and I said, I'm here now. You go get some sleep. I'll sit with Mama. And I sat by her bedside, and that night I am quite sure that I sang His Eyes on the Sparrow about 150 times, over and over and over again. And my mother laid there, preparing to meet her Savior. And sometime in the mid-morning, she opened her eyes for the first time in a couple of days. And my mother had eyes that were the color of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And she looked at me with that look that only your mother can give you. I think she was probably tired of His Eyes on the Sparrow at that point, quite frankly. And she just looked at me. And I said, Mama, you can go on. What good has this body done for you lately? I'm going to take care of Daddy. And my mother closed her eyes. And as God is my witness, church, I saw my mother embraced into the light of Jesus Christ. And I know in my heart that He said to her, I know you. Well done, thou good and faithful servant.